Hey everyone, welcome to Cartoon Flashbacks, Episode 6. And as you can see, I'm sort of on location, if you will, here in the bright outdoors. And as always, I'd like to say that this show is inspired by the Cartoon Fiends, cartoon reviews of the 80s and the 90s. Now, in the previous episodes, I've talked about Tailspin, Sonic, Rescue Rangers, Transformers, and I believe Last Olympics. And I'm sorry about that big gust of wind that just came up. But anyway, the cartoon I want to talk about this time in episode 6 is none other than Disney's Mighty Ducks. Now, Disney's Mighty Ducks came out in 1996 in what apparently was the year of the duck for Disney. Because not only was Mighty Ducks released, but also was Quack Pack, sort of a DuckTales spin-off. But Mighty Ducks was loosely based upon Disney's three movies called The Mighty Ducks, D1, D2, and D3. And also based on the new hockey franchise, which is no longer the hockey franchise, but at the time it was, the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. You might know them now as the Anaheim Ducks. And they play the Detroit Red Wings tonight, in Game 7. But anyway, the show was sort of loosely based on all of that. The story, basically, the plot-wise, is that you have you have 6 alien ducks who come to Earth following a Saurian overlord named Dragonus, who has escaped from a dimensional prison, or known in the show as Dimensional Limbo. Anyway, Dragonus ends up escaping and conquering the homeworld of the characters here. So what happens is that the Ducks originally were a team of 7, but the leader, Canard, ended up sacrificing himself into a dimensional wormhole to save his friends, or his teammates. And his best friend, Wild Wing, who's this guy, ends up taking over in his place. Now, the series ran in syndication and on ABC. I don't know exactly how many episodes were made altogether. But in the end, what happens is the Mighty Ducks end up defeating Dragonus, although they have to sacrifice the opportunity to go home, and they remain on Earth. But Dragonus also remains on Earth, but at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. Overall, the story overall had a good continuity to it, because it's almost every other episode was the Mighty Ducks trying to get to Dragonus, try to arrest Dragonus, put him use his dimensional portal to get back to Puck World, put him on trial, that kind of deal. And there was also some other, continuity as well. Some of the sub-continuity was also trying to find a way to help the leader Canard get out of dimensional limbo, and sometimes certain characters like Tanya, who's she right here, that's Tanya, wanted to go back home. Now, although it only lasted for one season, it has a huge, strong fan base, even to this day. Some fans, like myself, wish it would have continued a little longer, but unfortunately, like I said, it only ran for one season. Like I said, a good story, plot, continuity, if you will. Despite how you may feel about the show, the characters were well developed. They had some great backgrounds to them. Nosedive is sort of like a rookie, sort of like a hotshot, sort of like a kid in a candy store when it comes to comics. Wild Wing at first was very unsure about himself. He's a great goalie and everything, but unsure about his leadership ability until the end of the pilot. Tanya has a background in mechanics. Basically, as in the pilot, they say she can program the timer on a VCR just like that. Grin used to be a bully, but until he met Master Quack Pow, I think his name is, and learned how to be at peace with himself. Duke right here, used to be a thief, now turned good, although there was one episode where Mallory, who's she, that's Mallory, if you can get a better look at her, that's Mallory, questioned if he was still a thief or not. And speaking of Mallory, she also has a background as a former member of the Puckworld Special Forces, in other words, part of the police force, or army, if you will, of Puckworld. Now, like I said, overall the tone was very comedic, sort of similar to, I guess you could say, in the early and late stages of the Ninja Turtles. Well, considering that the same guy that wrote for the Ninja Turtles wrote this series, and that's David Wise. But overall, it was a good series. Like I said, unfortunately, it only ran for one season. Disney has not released this on DVD yet. I don't know when they'll release it. This is from my recorded DVD. In other words, I recorded the episodes and put them on DVD. Fans, like I said, it has a loyal fan base that has written fan fiction for it. And they've even gone to levels and places that the cartoon didn't, like pairing the girl characters of Tanya and Mallory up with certain boy characters from the teams. There's stories where they pair up Tanya, I think, with Wild Wing, and sometimes they pair up Mallory with Nosedive or Duke or Wild Wing, and they pair Tanya up with Nosedive or even or Duke. Things like that. The voices in the characters, great voice cast. Ian Ziegfeld, who you remember from Beverly Hills 90210, was the voice of Wild Wing. Jennifer Hale was the voice of Mallory. Brad Garrett, voice of Grin. Jeff Bennett, Duke. April Winchell, Tanya. Steve McElwain as Nosedive. Jim Belushi as Phil Palmfeather, the manager of the Mighty Ducks, who at times, was questioned about his charity events he had them, or charity stunts he had them doing, wondering if the money was really going to charity or not. And the guy that did I can't think of the guy's name, but the guy that was the police chief on NYPD Blue also did the voice of the police chief here. Overall, like I said, great show. Unfortunately, only one season. Maybe someday Disney will bring out the DVD. Whenever that will be, we don't know. But if you've not seen the series yet, I suggest you go on iOffer, Google it, watch it on certain video sites if you can find it. VO, the YouTube, the Google, the Dailymotion. If you can find it, I guarantee you will enjoy it. And that's all I can say here on episode 6 of Cartoon Flashback of Disney's Mighty Ducks. I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, I'm Brian saying God bless, take care, and I'm sorry about the wind. It's a little windy out here today, but fortunately you can hear me. Till next time, peace out.